Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are starting a new series of 6 titles that I think that you should own in your collection and see before you die. Now, the 6 titles that I have here are ranging everything from horror to comedy and everything in between. Uh, and they're not necessarily my 6 favorite titles that I own or my 6 favorite movies that I've ever seen. It's just 6 titles in my collection that I think that you should see before you die. Um, and if this is a series that does well, then I can see this going on. We could do 6 more titles that you should see before you die. And I'd like to make this a series if possible. But before we get started, guys, if you haven't done so already, hit that like button. It really helps out the channel if you like what you see here today. Also, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to grow this channel. We talk about physical media, Blu-rays, 4Ks. We do a lot of top 10 lists. We do a lot of lists in general here. But we talk about movies. We talk about physical media. So if that's something you're into, if that's your jam, definitely hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Also, don't forget to hit that bell notification button so every time I put out a video like this one here today, you can be notified. All right, so let's get into it, guys. The 6 movies that I think you should see before you die, part 1. The first movie I have here for you guys is from 1944. It is a film noir, and I've talked about this movie before on the channel. To me, this is the ultimate film noir. It's the best one out there, and I am talking about the Billy Wilder classic Double Indemnity. Billy Wilder, fantastic director, one of my favorite directors of all time. He's done countless classics in Hollywood. To me, this is probably his best. This is like I say, the ultimate film noir, starring the wonderful Barbara Stanwyck, who gives, in my opinion, the best performance by any female lead in any movie in film history. And I know that's saying a whole lot when you talk about all of film history, but if you've seen this movie, you know what I'm talking about. She plays a femme fatale here and just really steals the show. Fred MacMurray also stars with her, and he's really good as well. He plays insurance salesman who's just out trying to sell insurance policies. He comes across Barbara Stanwyck's character here, Phyllis Diedrich, and she has a little more that she's wanting to do than just buy insurance. She's actually plotting to kill her husband, and her and Fred MacMurray's character, they get together and they see, well, how can we murder my husband and also cash in on the insurance. And they actually have what is called a double indemnity clause, where for certain deaths from a family member, um, you get extra money. You get that double indemnity clause and get extra money. Of course, they're talking about splitting the money and running off together, but it's just a whole lot more involved in that. You have Edward G. Robinson, who works with Fred MacMurray's character as well. And he's kind of like an investigator through the insurance company, and he starts to catch on to what's going on. And it's just really that back and forth cat and mouse game between him and them two. Um, it really fantastic film here. Like I say, one of my favorite films of all time. I watch it at least once or twice a year. Just the Criterion here, I got the 4K, and admittedly, this is not one of the best looking 4Ks that they've ever done. I mean, it's not bad. It's just I've seen better from them, but I'm still glad to have this one on 4K. This is a must watch for any fan film. If you're into film noirs and somehow you haven't come across this one, you haven't seen this one yet, do yourself a favor, check it out. It's my first pick for 6 films that you should watch before you die. We're talking about Billy Wilder's Double Indemnity. All right, so switching gears here, we're talking about the hilarious 1980 film Airplane. This one is kind of like a spoof on the disaster films that came out in the 70s and early 80s, and especially on the airport films. If you've seen the airport films, there's 4 of those, and they play very serious. And Airplane kind of just spoofs on that. One of the greatest comedies of all time. I don't think there's any argument there. This is very highly rated. But like I say, one of the best comedies out there. Of course, you have Leslie Nielsen in here, who had previously in the past had played a lot of straight characters, like very serious characters in film, and then he comes up, he plays in Airplane, and a lot of people didn't really know how to take him in that. Like, who is this guy that's playing that's very serious in all these films? Who's this guy in this comedy? But he's terrific in this. Of course, you have Robert Hayes in this as well, playing the lead, and like I say, just an all around great comedy here. This is the 4K version, and I think it looks terrific. Great looking picture here. If you don't own this one, definitely do your favor, get it in the collection. But it's unfortunate that we don't get comedies like this anymore. I'm not really sure why they're Hollywood is so afraid to put out comedies like this. I think we're just so afraid that we're going to offend somebody now. This is one of those movies that just kind of riffs on everybody and doesn't hold the punches back. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in here that probably couldn't be made today, but yeah, it's just really good stuff here. If you're looking for a really good comedy and somehow you haven't seen this one, definitely check it out. It's one of those I definitely think you need to see. My number 2 pick, we're talking about 1980s classic Airplane. And switching gears again, now we're going to go to the suspense side of things, and we're talking about the master of suspense, the thriller, the all-time classic, 1960s. We're talking about Psycho, starring Janet Leigh and Anthony Perkins. One of the all-time greats. A lot of people will credit this with being the first slasher. I know there's other people out there saying, "Oh no, this movie was actually the first slasher," or "This one was." But I think the consensus for the most part is that Psycho is that, and kind of what started that movement. Of course, you would get to the 1980s, and the slasher really took off with Friday the 13th, My Bloody Valentine, countless others out there. But going back 20 years before that, you had Psycho, and Anthony Perkins is just unbelievable in this. He plays a really creepy role. Of course, he's running a hotel, and Janet Leigh, who has stole some money from her job, she's on the run, and she gets to the hotel. And of course, you have the famous shower scene that everybody knows. And then, of course, you have the investigators coming to looking for her after. And just a great tale here. One of those classic films that you definitely have to see, that everybody, whether you're a horror fan or not, whether you're a suspense fan or not, it's one of those that you just have to see at least once. I have the 4K collection here. It comes with Rear Window, Vertigo, Psycho, and The Birds. 4 classic movies here. I could have actually included any of these 4 in this video, but for this video's purpose, I went with Psycho. To me, it's Alfred Hitchcock's best, and he's put out a ton of them that are just wonderful classic masterpieces. But to me, Psycho is the best of the best here, and that's why I'm including this one here. My number 3 pick for movies that you need to see before you die comes Psycho. Now, if you like Westerns, I got one here for you. I'm not necessarily saying this is my favorite Western. It's up there. It's one of my favorites, but it's from John Ford. It's from 1962, starring John Wayne, James Stewart, and we are talking about The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. Absolutely fantastic film here. I can't get enough of this one. I love it. The first time I saw it, I was just blown away how good it actually was. It's definitely one of my favorite Westerns out there. And if you're looking to get into the Western genre, I would highly, highly, highly recommend this. This is a wonderful, wonderful film. Of course, I have the 4K here, and I love its slipcover. I love the colors on it. Love the picture that we have here. But yeah, this is a great looking restoration that they put out here. So definitely, I would say pick this one up. But as far as the movie itself, I mean, you getting great performances from John Wayne and James Stewart. Of course, John Wayne plays the usual tough guy. The guy, the cowboy, the real tough, gritty cowboy that he's known to play in a lot of his movies. And then, of course, you have James Stewart, who's more mild, meek, doesn't really know a lot about shooting and being a cowboy or anything like that. And then you have this bully that's in the town, Liberty Valance, and he is played by Lee Marvin. And Lee Marvin just is outstanding in this movie, and I think he's far and away the best character in this movie. He just does a wonderful job, and Lee Marvin, he's played the bad guy before, but I don't think he's played it any better than he has in this film. You really just grow to hate him, really detest his character, and Lee Marvin just gives a great performance here. Of course, this has John Carradine in as well. Lee Van Cleef. Lee Van Cleef was known to be in a ton of westerns back in the day, including this one. John Ford, one of the all-time great filmmakers. Um, this is one of his best for sure. And if you haven't seen this and you're looking to get into that Western genre, give The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance a shot. I think you really like it. It's done really well. It's kind of a longer movie, but it doesn't feel long. It flows really well. Great chemistry here between James Stewart and John Wayne. Great movie here. Highly recommend it. We have The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. Next up, I have a more lighthearted film here. One, if you're looking for a lot of laughs, just a really fun, entertaining movie. We're talking about 1977 Smokey and the Bandit. It's starring the great Burt Reynolds. If you've watched this channel, you already know that I'm a big Burt Reynolds fan. I think he's fantastic. And this is my actually my favorite Burt Reynolds film. We're talking about Smokey and the Bandit from 1977, directed by Hal Needham. Hal Needham and Burt Reynolds were very good friends, and they collaborated a lot throughout the years. But of course, this one you have Burt Reynolds' character. He is trying to transport some bunch of cases of beer from Texarkana to Atlanta, and you have the sheriff played by Jackie Gleason, who's in pursuit of him, and I mean, he just gives a ton of laughs here. Jackie Gleason is really funny in this. You have Sally Field playing. He Burt Reynolds' character picks her up along the way, and she kind of plays that love interest of his, and just great chemistry and great characters throughout here. They all kind of play off each other. A lot of laughs, a lot of fun, a lot of entertainment here. Really nice looking 4K as well. Unfortunately, I didn't get the slip on this. I waited a little too late to pick this one up, but still a great addition here. You can find this one fairly cheap now, so if you're looking for something a little different, definitely check out Smokey and the Bandit. Of course, this is a very popular film from back in the '70s, so I'm sure a lot of people have seen this. But somehow you missed this, give this one a shot. Really great film here. We're talking about Smokey and the Bandit. And finally, guys, the last one that I have for you of films that I think that you need to see before you die. We're talking about 1976 classic from Martin Scorsese, Taxi Driver. Stars Robert De Niro. Also has young Jodie Foster in it, and it almost plays like two movies. You have the taxi driver here, played by Robert De Niro, and his character is in the first, in I say it's like two movies because in the first part he's interested in I believe Sybil Shepherd, that her character is in this movie, and she's kind of working for this guy running for president, and so he kind of becomes infatuated with her, and then he plots to kill the guy running for office, and then in the second part of the movie you see him. There's a young prostitute played by Jodie Foster, and he's trying to save her. So it kind of almost plays like two movies there with two different storylines. But Robert De Niro, his character is named Travis Bickle, and it just kind of shows his his dive, I guess you could say, into madness. He's always a little unhinged, on the edge, and getting ready to snap at any point. He's right there on the edge the whole movie, and then you just finally see him go deeper and deeper and deeper into madness. Of course, it has the famous line, "You talking to me?" Everybody knows that; they've seen that. But just a fantastic film here. One of Martin Scorsese's greatest films, in my opinion. Robert De Niro gives a great performance here. A really good performance by, like I say, young Jodie Foster as well. She's not in it much. She's more in it towards the end of the movie. But some really good stuff here. Of course, this one was written by Paul Schrader, who would go on to direct several movies as well, and he collaborated with Martin Scorsese a few times as well. One of the all-time great films in American cinema history. Um, could not could not talk about six films that you need to see before you die without talking about one of the greatest here. More like a psychological drama, I would say. We're talking about 1976's Taxi Driver. And that's it, guys. That is the six films for now that I think you need to see before you die. I hope you enjoyed this list here. Again, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, bell notification. I really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you for watching the video, and we'll talk to you next time.